Hello students, thank you for joining me for another fun and exciting language arts lesson. I'm your teacher, Mr. Jackson, and today we will continue our practice activities for the ability test. But before we can do that, be sure to have your pencils, notebooks, and your brains ready as we begin this lesson. Now, as you know, the ability test will have different types of questions testing your verbal reasoning skill. We have already gone through 4 types of questions. Can you remember what they are? Well, in case you can't remember, the 4 types of questions that we have gone through are analogy, classification, artificial language, and sequencing. So today we will focus on another type of question, and that is text completion. So we know that we'll be doing activities that relate to text completion, but how will we know that we are successful? We will know that we are successful when we can honestly do the following things. You should be able to honestly say yes to these I can statements. Number 1, I can explain what context clues are. Number 2, I can correctly analyze the context of a given sentence to select the best option to complete the sentence. Number 3, I can select the best word to complete a given sentence based on spelling, meaning, usage, and context. And of course, number 4, I can participate in the lesson from beginning to end. To begin, we first need to know what is meant by context clues, or what we mean by context. So, what are context clues? Context clues, these are hints found within a sentence, paragraph, or passage that a reader can use to understand the meaning of new or unfamiliar words. A reader must be aware that many words have several possible meanings. As it relates to context, the parts of something written or spoken that immediately precede and follow a word or passage and clarify its meaning. Now, here is our good reader tip. A good reader or a skilled reader uses context clues or context to construct meaning from words as they read. For sentence completion questions, you are expected to use context to determine the choice of words based on variation in spelling, usage, and meaning. In other words, you have to look at the context of the sentence or the text to determine which word best completes that sentence or text. Let us look at an example. After the fire, the cane field was left A, bare, B-E-R-E, bare, B-E-E-R, bare, B-I-E-R, or bare, B-E-A-R. Now we see here, students, that there are several words and they all are pronounced bare. However, each word has a different meaning. Bare, B-A-R-E, would mean naked or without. B-E-E-R would be an alcoholic drink. B-I-E-R would be that wheel or lever on which they carry a casket during a funeral. And B-E-A-R would be the animal. So, based on the sentence or the context, which word would best complete the sentence? That's right. The word that would best complete the sentence is B-A-R-E, or option A. And as said before, all these words have the same pronunciation, but they are spelled differently and have a different meaning. Now, based on the context of the sentence, option A would be correct. The word B-A-R-E, bare, means uncovered or left without cane. So after the fire, the cane field was left bare, B-A-R-E. Let's try this one together. An instruction says, choose the correct answer that best completes the sentence below. The dancer tried to blank the movements of his teacher, exactly copying every graceful step. The options: A, plagiarize, B, interpret, C, mimic, D, possess, or E, refine. Now, which word would best complete this statement? Is it A, plagiarize, B, interpret, C, mimic, D, possess, or E, refine? Remember, we have to look at the words and the context to find which word would best complete the sentence. So, the dancer tried to A, plagiarize. What do we mean by plagiarize? To plagiarize means to use someone else's work or their property without permission. What about interpret? The dancer tried to interpret the movements of his teacher, exactly copying every graceful step. To interpret could mean to understand. But what about C, mimic? The dancer tried to mimic the movements of his teacher, exactly copying every graceful step. Mimic here could mean imitate. What about D, possess? The dancer tried to possess or own the movements. The dancer tried to refine or to make the movements better. Let's see, could not be plagiarized because the dancer is not using the teacher's movements without the teacher's permission. I wouldn't say interpret either because the dancer is not trying to understand the movements. I would choose C, mimic. In other words, the dancer is trying to imitate. So, have you ever heard the expression, imitation is the best form of flattery? And for a lot of us, we learn by imitating what we see. Good job, boys and girls. Now, let's try this question. Choose the correct answer that best completes each sentence, or in this case, the answer that best completes this sentence. The sentence, everybody blank dancing and having a great time at the party. The options are were, be, was, and are. Now, based on the options, or based on the context rather, we see that this event or this party took place in the past. So, that would leave out two options, are and be. Everybody are dancing and having a great time at the party. Everybody be having a great time, dancing and having a great time at the party. Now, let us look at the word everybody. Would we use the word were? Everybody were dancing and having a great time at the party? Or would we say everybody was dancing and having a great time at the party? That's right, we would say was. So everybody was dancing and having a great time at the party. Now, for this question, choose the correct answer that best completes this sentence. And the sentence or the context in this case is, despite his shy personality, David can be rather blank sometimes. Here the context is telling us about David, and we're seeing that we're looking at the two different sides of David's personality. A, nervous, B, outgoing, C, strange, or D, timid. Now, based on the word despite, we are going to be looking for a word that is opposite in meaning to shy. So, despite his shy personality, David can be rather A, nervous sometimes, B, outgoing sometimes, C, strange sometimes, or D, timid. Give it a go. Did you say timid? Despite his shy personality, David can be rather timid. Timid and shy are basically synonyms, which mean they have the same meaning. So I would not necessarily put timid there. What about B, outgoing? Despite his shy personality, David can be rather outgoing sometimes. That sounds more like it. Outgoing here represents the opposite of shy. So despite being shy, or despite having a shy personality, David can be rather outgoing sometimes. Well, boys and girls, it's that time again to check what we have learned so far from the activity. Can you honestly say yes to these I can statements? Number 1, I can explain what context clues are. Number 2, I can correctly analyze the context of a given sentence to select the best option to complete the sentence. Number 3, I can select the best word to complete a given sentence based on spelling, meaning, usage, and context. And of course, number 4, I can participate in the lesson from beginning to end. Well, if you can, then guess what? It's time to have that's right, our 1-minute party. So get ready to bust out your best dance move. Are you ready? Let's go. 1-minute party, 1-minute party, 1-minute party. Good job, boys and girls. It may not have been a minute, but we had fun. Well, be sure to view other ability test practice activities lessons to ensure that you understand what each type of question requires so that you are able to select the best responses to those questions. Okay, boys and girls, that's all the time that we have for today's lesson. Join me next time for another fun and exciting language arts lesson. See you soon.